Welcome to What's Up, Bolts? I'm Fernando Ramirez. So if I'm Fernando Ramirez, that means that man over there in the cowboy hat, the sunglasses, that's got to be Dan Intrigo. Dan, how are we
Woo!
doing?
It's a great day to have a great day. You know what I'm saying? There are no bad days, Frau. You already know what it is. I'm a half glass full kind of guy when it comes to life. Now to my sports teams, glass half empty. I'm a pessimist. You already know.
There's a lot of concern right now, I'm sure, from not only the Chargers fan base, but there has to be a little bit of concern from the Chargers as well, especially the Chargers coaching staff and I mean even the players a little bit. I mean, there so obviously the big news is that Chargers receiver Keenan Allen did suffer a little bit of a setback when it comes to his hamstring injury. We spoke to him on Wednesday, and let's go. So we spoke to him on Wednesday and asked him, Keenan, what happened, and then he said that he was right. So so let me lay it to you like this: Monday, he doesn't practice. Everybody's like, I wonder where Keenan is. It's Halloween. Who knows? Maybe did he suffer a setback? And then so obviously we asked him on Wednesday, and Wednesday he says that he did suffer a little bit of a setback when he was working out and running and everything, that he felt a little bit of something. So we'll get into that right now in the show, but first we can't bury our guest, Dan. We got AG. We have a very big guest on the show, D. Orlando Ledbetter. He covers all things Atlanta. He explained to me, he broke down everything about the Falcons and kind of what their season's going like. Dan, would you ever have thought that the Atlanta Falcons in week 9 would be leading the NFC South division when you have Tom Brady, when you have, I guess Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and heck, even PJ Walker. Then the New Orleans Saints with their revamped defense.
Yeah.
Would you ever have the Atlanta Falcons with Marcus Mariota would be leading this division?
Well, it's like we talked about on regular Compass. I think you mentioned that this whole NFL season has been weird. It's like you've entered the fifth dimension, my guy. You're in the twilight zone. It's just crazy. It just goes to show you, like, you don't have to win pretty. All you got to do is win. No one's gonna care. No one's gonna bat an eye, right? But it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things you never know, because I'm sure everyone pegged Tampa Bay to be the favorites, and now look what's going on. It's a complete cluster.
Atlanta could have even won more games. If you look at this, okay, so week 1, they beat the New Orleans Saints 27. They lost to the New Orleans Saints 27-26. They lost to Gilberto's precious Rams 31-27 in week 2. Remember, Dan, they were down a lot of points in that one. They block a punt. They intercept Matthew Stafford. They start coming back, and at the end,
I think Cooper Kupp even fumbled.
Yeah, they kind of screwed up that game. They beat Seattle in Seattle. They beat Cleveland. They lost to Tampa, and even the
Cleveland one was like a freak show. I think they scored like 14 points in less than 3 minutes or something like that.
That's exactly what happened. And then they beat they lost to Tampa Bay 21-15. Then they beat San Francisco 28-14. Now that one's a little bit more of an outlier just because San Francisco had a lot of injuries on that team.
Yeah.
They couldn't win that one. They get the brakes beat off of them by the Cincinnati Bengals and Jamar Chase.
Shout out. And won my fantasy game with that one, probably.
And the Carolina Panthers, the Carolina Panthers, obviously this last weekend, where DJ Moore ties the game, throws off his helmet. And if he doesn't do that, they probably have an easier extra point. They kick it, they win. Instead, he misses. They go into overtime. And then obviously Atlanta won the game. But yeah, so this Atlanta team is tough. They're gonna be tough. Obviously, the last time that the Chargers played versus Marcus Mariota, he gave them a game. I mean, let me look it up right now. Marcus Mariota went 17-28, 226, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He rushed 9 times for 88 yards and a touchdown. Literally, Dan, what saved them? And Darren Waller went for 9 catches, 150.
That's what I was about to say. Wasn't it with the Raiders? I remember this.
Yeah, it was on that Thursday night game, the one where Justin said, "I was in."
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
So that was the game where Derek Carr was running out of bounds. He pulled his groin. He didn't come back. It was Marcus Mariota. That was the game. You know what saved them in a sense? The Raiders were driving to try and take the lead, and Chris Harris Jr. intercepts Marcus Mariota, and he runs it back like 70 yards or whatever. The Chargers score, then the Raiders score, then they go into overtime, and obviously Justin Herbert won the game. But Marcus Mariota is a lethal athlete. He's very good, and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
I'll get into that with D in a little bit, but obviously I have to go back to the Keenan Allen thing. So this is basically what Keenan Allen told us today in the locker room about the injury.
Hold on real quick. Can you pause?
When it's ready.
Yeah.
I just want to freaking look who's behind him. There he is. A freaking stud. Sir Jeffrey. Shout out to you, the real all-in star. My bad for interrupting the program. Just got to give him his love.
I was like, wait. All right. So there you go. There's some love for Jeff. All right. Let's see what Keenan has to say.
Yeah, my bad.
Like I said, you got to take it day by day. And, when it's ready to come back, it'll be ready. And, I'll be ready. I'll stay ready. When I can play, I can play.
So, yeah, Keenan was speaking kind of low. He was speaking low with us. So, basically, he said when he's ready to go, he's going to be ready. He doesn't want to not half-ass it, but, like, he doesn't want this whole, hey, you're going to go out there on a pitch count. He doesn't want any of that. If he's going to go, he wants to go full blast. So, that to me, and then we asked him, are you going to come back? Are you going to be back in the near future? Or, pretty soon? And he said he didn't know. So, now there's huge question marks going into the next few games with it. And it's funny because we asked Brandon Staley about that and what and if it happened during the game. Brandon said no. That so obviously Keenan told us that it happened during what's it called during the bye week and everything. So what the Chargers had hoped, maybe the bye week would have guys back in there and settle down. It doesn't look like that happened. Dan, what are your thoughts on with what's going on with Keenan?
Well, it's just one of those things. It's crazy, dude. But I'm glad we have a third string quarterback on the roster. I'm glad no trades were made. It's what's it called? All sunshines and rainbows over here in LA, dude. But it's just one of those things where it's like, with that injury, you don't, especially if I was in Keenan's shoes, right? I would not want to come back at like 50, 60, 70% and then re-aggravate it and be out for the year. I mean, I guess at this point, you just got to go to PT, try and get better, ice, stretch, whatever you need to do, and hope to be back as soon as you can so you can go full go. But, I mean, can the team survive from here until then? Because it has not looked good since he went down, obviously.
So this is what Brandon Staley had to say about them not being active or them not going through a trade or making a trade on Tuesday.
I think you're aware of all the activity in the league, and we were certainly a part of it. Nothing materialized, but I thought that we were active to an extent, and nothing really happened for us that. Was going to make sense for this season or next. That's a lot of, it's not just this season, it's the years, to come. So, but yeah, there were some moves made yesterday for sure.
So that tells me that they put out feelers and what they wanted was too big of a prize, dude.
Yeah. And I mean, some of the guys that you're looking at or that you would be looking at, it's not like guys that are on a 1-year deal like Von Miller was last year, some of these other guys.
Yeah.
Mostly if they were looking at receiver, a lot of the guys have still some years left on their contracts. Everybody basically, from what I saw, there's not a 1-year deal where you could like from the guys traded yesterday or on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes you kind of have to throw caution into the wind. The Chargers decided not to do that. They decided to stay still. Yeah. And now obviously they're gonna have to so I don't know how to. So obviously, I asked Brandon, Brandon, are you guys like? Because so basically, Joshua Palmer is back from concussion protocol. Is he going to play on Sunday? Is it no? Well,
Who
if
knows?
he's going to play on Sunday, Brandon doesn't know. Brandon said we
Yeah.
still don't know yet. I'm pretty sure we're going to know more by Friday. But okay, so you have basically Mike and Keenan basically are going to be out this
Yeah,
week.
no, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Josh Palmer might play, but you're basically telling me you're going to go out there with Josh Palmer, DeAndre Carter, Michael Bandy, and Jason Moore. Like those are going to be your four. They'll probably bring up somebody from the practice squad, but those are going to be your four. Like you trust in that. I think I saw in career passes. I think only. I mean, obviously DeAndre's probably the veteran out of that group. So I asked Brandon. I'm like, hey, you're okay with the guys that are about to go out there, and their experience and their lack thereof experience? You're confident going in there with Josh, Michael Bandy.
Yeah, we'll be confident with whoever goes out there that's dressed up. We got full confidence in our group. And, we know all the guys on our team, and we're going to have to put a good game plan with the guys who are out there.
If he plays on
that to me is –
yeah.
Well, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, think about it from his perspective, right? It's like he's not going to stand there in front of the media and everybody else and be like, oh, yeah, well, these guys X, Y, Z and bury him, right? Like the thing that sometimes I think, and I think we've talked about this off camera, I think sometimes the biggest problem with coordinators or coaches in general, and I'm not talking about just Brandon or whoever, I'm not pointing blame, is like, obviously because I don't know because I'm not in the building, but you can't just put guys in sometimes into a system and think it's going to work. You know what I mean? You have to find their strengths and weaknesses and try and exploit and try and get things going that are their strengths, if that makes sense. Like it's going to be tough this Sunday. Like just because Atlanta has like a 3-5 record or whatever, they're still leading the division. They're finding how to win games. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be easy, especially because you're on the road. You're on the road and you've already put about 2 games out there where you've gotten dominated and it hasn't looked pretty. So
yeah,
it's going to be a little tough, especially if Herbert keeps seeing ghosts or feeling uncomfortable. Like it's not going to be pretty if you can't game plan correctly and everything else on offense.
You know what, Dan? I was gonna do something else, but you know what? Let's go now to our good friend D. Orlando Ledbetter. Let's talk to him about the Falcons, get a breakdown, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more Keenan Allen. But now, like I said, you don't want to miss Orlando, D. Orlando Ledbetter. It's gonna be a good talk with him.
Let's go.
Folks, you guys know this is Chargers Falcons week, and I thought to myself, well, the Chargers don't really play the Falcons. Who can I get? I asked our buddy Gilberto. I'm like, Gil, who can I get? He's like, there's no one better than the Atlanta Journal-Constitution's Falcons beat reporter, D. Orlando Ledbetter. He's like, this guy is amazing. You want to get him on the show, so we got him on the show. Thanks, D, so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, Fernando. Thanks for having me on What's Up, Boats.
I appreciate you jumping on. Man, make it make sense. Everybody thought before the season, Tom Brady and the Bucs are retooling. They're revamping. Here they come with Julio Jones and all these weapons. And then other people said, no, it's the New Orleans Saints. They got a good defense. They got some good pieces. But no, it's actually the Atlanta Falcons going into week 9 that are leading this division with Marcus Mariota. What is going on in Atlanta? What's in the water in Atlanta?
Well, Fernando, they've been very fortunate. They were 3-3 in one-score games. They beat the 49ers by 2 scores, and they lost to the Bengals, in a blowout. But Bengals blew them out. But, they showed some fight early on in the season. Almost beat the Saints early, lost that game late. Then went to the Rams, got down 28-3, but fought back some kind of way. And then went to Seattle, stayed out west, and the team kind of grew together, and they were able to beat what's looking like a better Seattle team than we had anticipated. And they came back the next week and beat the Browns, who we saw, take it to Cincinnati last night. So those 2 wins built a lot of confidence up in what they were doing as a team, revamping the whole offense, revamping the whole defense, 9 of 11 new starters on the defensive side of the ball, putting together a college-styled offense for Marcus Mariota, and it's working for them thus far. They've been living good too. That they're one DJ Moore helmet pull away from losing that game on Sunday. So they're living good too, and it's working out well for them.
Can you talk, D, about Arthur Smith and kind of what he's brought to this organization? Because, like you said, it's supposed to be a rebuild, but they're winning games. They're, like you said, they're 4-4. They're winning games. Obviously, the offense looks different, but just can you talk about what he's brought as a head coach to this organization?
Yeah, he's brought a certain toughness to the team that they had early on here with Dan Quinn. It's Mike Vrabel is one of the guys he learned under in Tennessee. So he's brought that same style of ball here and how they want to run the ball first. They don't have Derrick Henry though to do it with, but they've been managing pretty well with the guys they have. And they're playing together. They're not trying to beat themselves and playing to the skill set of their players, not asking them to do things that they can't do, and it's working out for them.
When you look at Marcus Mariota, obviously he's a different kind of ball player. He uses his legs, he uses his arm, whatever he needs to do to win games, he tries to do. Just what have you seen from him, and how do you feel like he's grown, or how do you feel like he's taken command of this offense so far in Atlanta?
Yeah, he's much mature now. I knew a lot of people that were with him in Tennessee, and where a lot of pressure was on him as a number 2 pick, Heisman Trophy winner. He doesn't have that anymore. He's been to the top and the bottom. So, now mistakes don't weigh on him as much as they used to. He's like, hey, he's got to move on to the next play. So, he's got some interceptions, some fumbles, and so forth. But he keeps playing. He plays through those things. And the guys tend to believe in him. He's getting them in and out of good calls with the RPOs, whether to run it, whether to throw it. And he's pulling the ball down and getting out of harm's way and getting out of the pocket when it's collapsing. So the guys have rallied around him. The mistakes don't weigh on him. He still makes the mistakes. He bobbling the ball, mishandling the ball a little bit here and there, bad throw here and there. But he plays through it now, and that's where the growth is in his game.
I love physical monsters. Like, I'm into sci-fi, I'm into all that. To me, Kyle Pitts fits exactly what that means. He's just big, athletic, fast. Just can you talk about him and kind of what you guys have seen from him in his first 2 years in the NFL?
Yeah, last year was a good year. He had over 1,000 yards. Matt Ryan knew how to get the tight end the ball, and they didn't get him a lot of touchdowns, but he got 1,000 yards receiving. So that was a good first start for him. He came close to some of Mike Ditka's decade-old tight end rookie records, but he had an extra game to do it, but he didn't get quite there. So now second year, new quarterback. It's taken a little while for them to get going in the passing game, but we saw a little bit last week where he gets to 80 yards, 5 catches for 80. But the 2 big games, 2 of the wins, Seattle and Carolina, he had over 8 targets. So when they get him, if they got to force feed him, they need to force feed him. And they're figuring that out right now on how to move him around and get him his touches, because that'll balance out this offense, this run-heavy offense.
Well, if anybody can do it, it's Arthur Smith. And can you talk a little bit more about Drake London? He's a guy, obviously, from out here, from Los Angeles. He went to USC. He was a big-time recruit. Everybody knew he was going to be a first-round draft pick. Just can you talk about what has he impressed you guys? Kind of what has Atlanta thought of the Drake London pick so far?
Yeah, they think highly of it. Early on teams were shifting towards Kyle Pitts, and Drake London was free to do damage, and he did it in the first 3 games. I think 13 catches on 19 targets, maybe a 100-yard game in there also. So we've seen that he can do it. Now he's got attention. So people are putting 2 people on him, and he's not as free as he was early on in the season. So between Kyle Pitts and Drake, one of those guys is going to get one-on-one, and whichever one does, they can do damage. So getting Cordarrelle Patterson back will help both of those guys out too. So he's getting a lot of attention lately. Hasn't been able to put up the numbers, hasn't been getting the targets, but we saw what he can do early on, and that's the challenge of the Falcons offense. As they grow and try to improve this season, their room for growth is in the passing game, and they got the weapons to do it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, one guy that really stood out, I mean, I just saw, I was looking through the stats and everything. Amadeus Zaccheaus, sorry about
that. Former UVA, Virginia undrafted kid. The Marcus has leaned on him sometimes in the passing game, and we've seen over the last two games where they worked in Demir Bird, throwing him the ball deep down the field. He caught a 75-yard against the Bengals, had a 47-yard touchdown against the Panthers, but both of his interceptions were going on deep balls to Demir Bird because people crowding the box on him while they know they're going to run the ball. They got to pick their chances to, hit some shots down the field. And Demir Bird and Olamide Zaccheaus are the two little speedy guys that can do it for him.
So, obviously, you said that Cordarrelle Patterson. You think Cordarrelle Patterson plays on Sunday?
Yes, I do. They're going to do they'll activate him today or the 21-day thing today or tomorrow. And he's in such good shape that I don't think he's going to need a long ramp-up period. And they'll wait till Saturday to try to keep the Chargers guessing and so forth. But I fully expect him to play. And
sorry.
I fully expect him to play. He might be on a pitch count, but I fully expect him to play.
So obviously, obviously I've been covering this team and everything, and the way that they've given up big runs this year. They've given up 70-yard runs, 50-yard, like in every game. It seems like they give one grand slam run away to the running back. Do you feel like that maybe that's how the Falcons offense will attack the Chargers defense, maybe by running the football, running it with Marcus, running it with Cordarrelle, kind of trying to keep that going just because they know that the Chargers aren't that especially very good against the run?
Oh, yeah, they're going to challenge them up front, and they have to because they want to keep that defense off the field and expose it as little as possible to an accurate quarterback and Justin Herbert. That's going to be key, running the ball, and they don't. Their philosophy is we're going to keep running it, and by the third or fourth quarter, they're going to get tired, and then that's when we break the big run. That happened for Caleb Huntley against the Panthers on his 11th run in the early part of fourth quarter. He breaks free for 30 yards, and that sets him up to take the field goal, the first lead of the fourth quarter, and we know it kept going back and forth, but certainly that's the way they want to play. It's no secret about it that they're going to load it up and run at you, and it's been pretty effective for them thus far.
Do you talk about the defense? I mean, you say they want to keep them off the field. Casey Hayward on IR. The Chargers know him very well. I believe AJ Terrell is also hurt right now. Just what can you say about the defense? Like what have you seen from them, or have they gotten any better? Have they regressed a little bit since those injuries? Kind of, what's your analysis on that?
Yeah, they give up way too many yards for my liking. They're last in pass defense, 309, I believe it is. And, they are 30th in total yards. So they give up a bunch of yards, but they try to make it's a bend but not break defense. They try to get stout inside the 20, and they try to get the ball off of you. They got 11 turnovers. They've taken a couple of them back for touchdowns. Picked off a screen against the Panthers, nice. Turned that into a touchdown by Lorenzo Carter. They also blocked a punt against the Rams. So it's a classic bend but not break crew. They try to keep the ball in front of them. Don't give up the big home run plays. But they did against Cincinnati. Cincinnati will do that to a lot of people. But not the Browns last night, but they will do it to a lot of people. So that's how they're trying to play. They're trying to, they're going to let you go down the field slow, but they're not trying to give up the home run ball. So, they'll be on Eckler. They'll know where he is. Mike Williams is, they know who he is. And I guess Keenan Allen came back against Seattle, and he's, done some damage against the Falcons in the past also. So they know the weapons that the Chargers possess, and they got to take some of them away. I don't know. I think Eckler's the one that'll get most of their attention, but Williams and Allen will be open in the secondary, no doubt about it.
Last one or two more, and D Grady Jarrett. Just what has he meant to the defensive line? I mean, he's a wreck, a bowling, or what's it called? He's a steamroller. I every time I see him, he's always in the backfield creating havoc. Just what has he kind of meant to this defense?
Yeah, he's been the stalwart on the defensive side of the ball. I think he still leads them in sacks. I haven't gone over my numbers on defense today, but he's a quick, stout guy that they've been moving around to get him some matchups and so forth. So he's been the leader of that defense. They were able to re-sign him, and they wanted to build around him moving forward, and he's off to a great start here this season.
D, I got one last one. Who you got on Sunday?
Yeah, kind of early in the week for me here, but I think the Chargers passing attack is going to be a whole lot for the Falcons. They'll see exactly. I don't think AJ Terrell makes it back. So you got Cornell Armstrong and Darren Hall out there. So I'm thinking I got it down to it's going to be the Falcons either running the ball or the Chargers passing it. And I think with a week off from the bye, that the Chargers will be fresh enough to come in here and get the W.
Well, D, I appreciate you so much for jumping on first with Gilbert on House of Horns, and then jumping on with me on What's Up Bolts. You guys can find D and all his great work on Twitter at D Orlando AJC. Great work, obviously spot on, and he will be there on Sunday to watch the Falcons and the Chargers face off. D, thank you so much for joining me.
Sure, no problem, Fernando. Thanks for having me. You take care and have a great rest of your week.
You too. Thank you. Dan, that's a lot of good stuff from D. He really, he broke it down for me. He basically explained that they have some holes. Atlanta definitely has some holes, and that's the thing. I wonder if the Chargers are going to try and if they're going to try and exploit it a little bit with the run game, try and help Justin in that way. But real quick, let's just go back to the Keenan Allen thing. I was a little, I'm not going to say disgusted. I was a little unsettled because I posted the video of what Keenan said. And I kind of usually I don't go through the comments and stuff because sometimes, because sometimes people are a little bit ignorant, but man, people were going at Keenan and they're like, oh, you bum, you're lazy, you're this, you're that, you're always hurt, this, that. Keenan's actually the last few years been so dependable. He's been the most dependable piece on this offense. He hasn't gotten hurt. He's rarely been out, if ever. And he was consistently getting over 100 catches and 1,000 yards. And he hadn't had an injury since 2016 when he tore his ACL in that first game against Kansas City. And I'm just like, really? This is your guy. Keenan's been consistent. He's been a big part of this offense. He's a guy who rarely complains, who's really been a leader of this team. He's the one that gets all the receivers together. He's the one that talks to them, explains stuff to them. He quickly adapted when Herbert got in here. Keenan was one of the guys that pulled Herbert aside and talked to him and really kind of helped him progress through into how to be an NFL quarterback. So Keenan's really been a huge piece, but obviously not a lot of that stuff gets out because obviously Keenan's just doing his job and trying to win. But if anything, man, Keenan, if Keenan was anybody else, he could have asked for a trade long ago and been like, you know what? This team is not winning. The same crap keeps on happening. Injuries, high expectations, and then obviously halfway through the year's wasted. Keenan could have left a long time ago, and he has so much talent that all 31 other teams would have wanted him. But he's decided to stay. He re-upped. He's been a leader. He's been everything that the Chargers had hoped for. And now the fans are turning on him, and some fans other fans are obviously good with it, but I just can't believe that this fan base is turning on everybody. Hell, I think they turn on their mamas if need be, just to throw blame on people. But damn, I was just looking and I'm like, dude, relax. It's not that serious. Like, the guy's going through it. You can tell in that video.
Yeah,
he's clearly
not
frustrated.
happy. That's why he's speaking so low.
Exactly. He expected to have a huge season. He told us numerous times, I'm very frustrated. They expected to have a Super Bowl, like their best chance. And I wrote that for the Orange County Register before the season started. Keenan and the team expected to have, but they expected out of themselves to have a huge year, and they haven't been able to have one. They're 4-3, yes. But now Keenan's going to be out for God knows how long. You're about to face after Atlanta. After Atlanta, you're about to face the 49ers in San Francisco. You're about to face the Kansas City Chiefs at home in SoFi, and then you're going to go to Arizona. These next 4 games are going to be crucial, and they're going to be tough. You could literally be 4-7 or 4-8, no 4-7 by the time December starts.
Yeah,
you could literally be out of this by the time that that December rolls around, especially if Keenan and Mike aren't playing.
And that's the biggest if, yeah.
Exactly. And for people that are over here complaining and everything about Keenan, you don't think like Justin and all these other guys wish that Keenan was there? It's just ridiculous. Like, it's just funny to me the way the fan base has really turned their backs on a lot of these players. I mean, I remember when Joey got hurt, people were like, oh, Joey's always hurt. Yeah. Joey's always hurt. Really? He's been a consistent piece to this team since he was been drafted, but it's just incredible. Same people that turned on Derwin when Derwin got hurt. It is incredible to me the way a lot of these people, how venomous people are, and they don't remember that these guys, I mean, it hurts these guys, especially 3 huge competitors like Derwin, like Keenan, and like Joey. You know, they die they would
to be out there.
Yeah, they die for the opportunity to be out there helping their teammates out, but unfortunately, they can't be out there.
That's what I was going to tell you, is that you want to find out who real people are, put them in stress, put them in bad situations. Obviously, when you're losing and you're not looking too good, everybody becomes a cannibal all of a sudden. That's what happens. It's just human nature. That's the biggest part. We're not patient. We don't want to be calm in stressful situations. As soon as things start losing, what do people want to do? Put away their jerseys and already check out and get ready for next year. It's one of those things, unfortunately, I'm a ride or die. You remember how I was during the 3-12s, the 4-14s or whatever, those years. My math obviously is off, not a math major, but I watched every game hoping maybe today I'll be shocked. I'm a ride or die. That's just how I am. That's how I'll always be. I'll be buried that way. It doesn't matter to me.
It's funny because even some fans have come after myself, Daniel Popper, Jeff Miller, Uncle Joe Reedy.
Yeah,
it's so funny they come after, like, the Chargers lose and they're losing because you guys aren't asking the right questions. Like, really? Like, you guys are gonna come after us for that? Like, now you're really stretching. But if you guys really want to hear, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, the 2 biggest things that piss me off when they come after media people is this. Number one, they act like you guys control the team, like you guys are the dang owners and can trade for people or do things. And number 2, like, you asking questions is not going to change their mentality, because they're not going to, like, I'm not going to say they're going to lie, but obviously no one is going to confess themselves to the media when they're asking them questions about players' health or status in the building or whatever you want.
You have to keep a professional
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Because if you're like, say for instance, you're burying Brandon Staley in every press conference, he's never going to give you a soundbite. He's never going to give you any insight.
Well, and not just that, but like, you just want to be professional. Because I mean, the way people come at them for their job, some people come at us for our job. So it's like you have an understanding. But no, it's not about that. It's about asking them the right questions and being able to know how to ask them and everything. So I mean, it's not just with the players. It's with the coaches, it's with everybody. You have to have a sense of professionalism, and that's the biggest difference between fans, the fanboys, the guys who believe that they're media, but like that's the reason why we went to school. Gilbert and I went to school. They taught us exactly how to do this. You learn more on the job than you do in school, but it's like that's why, like, you can't just go up there and be like, Brandon, why aren't you guys running the ball? why aren't you guys doing this? Why aren't you guys doing that? Like, no, it's not like that. It's like, Brandon, you guys are kind of struggling a little bit when it comes to running the football. Is it at the offensive line? Is it the running backs? Like, what's going on? And so that's the biggest difference. But
yeah,
I mean,
you're massaging questions.
yeah, people would just think it's easy as just to sit there, start shouting out questions, getting aggressive, and pissing off the coaches and stuff. It's like get out of here. But whatever. So obviously, today, Brandon was asked what. So basically, so I don't butcher this. He was asked, and this is going to be a long one. What's his message to the fan base following following them not making a trade during the trade deadline? So here it's going to be a long one. So buckle up a little bit and listen to this. But this is Brandon talking about why or what his message is to the fan base.
Yeah, Daniel, it's a good point. I mean, we made a lot of moves in the offseason. We made a lot of moves, made aggressive moves. I felt like we made a lot of smart moves that I think are paying off for us right now in terms of establishing the type of depth that you need based on what's happened to us and many others around the league. I think at the trade deadline, it's just the trade deadline is something that's overblown in the league. Number one, not that many trades happen. There's a lot of hype towards it, but then there's not as many as people think. And what you got to do is you got to make moves that are that makes sense for this year, but then it's not just this year, it's future years too. And we feel like we've got a lot of guys coming back, the guys that, that you guys know about, Mike, Joey, those guys are coming back for us. Keenan, they're coming back for us. These guys aren't out for the season where, hey, that would really put us in a tough spot where like, they're not coming back. So, hey, we need to replace them. That was our mindset. We were, in discussions like the rest of the league, and it just didn't make sense for us at the time. And we feel confident in the guys that we're going to get back, and that we have a lot of time to, create the identity for the rest of the season.
I understand.
Did you hear what he said at the end of that?
What did he say?
He said, create the identity for the rest of the season. Our boy must have been listening to What's Up Bolts.
So obviously,
it's full.
I understand the frustration from fans about the whole like, oh well, why didn't they go get guys? But I the thing is, I understand both sides. Yeah. I get why they didn't go get somebody, and I understand why the fans are frustrated. Tom Telesco doesn't make deals like that. In 2013, the only time he did it was Sean Lismore. He got him. The last time the Chargers actually made a significant trade was in 2007 when they got Chris Chambers. And Chris was a big reason why they were able to go all the way to the AFC Championship that year. He was a machine for the Chargers when he came in halfway through the year. But yeah, the Chargers barely ever do that, if at all. So, I mean,
everyone knew that. Everyone knew we weren't going to make a trade.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, even Brandon said they kind of dabbled in some things, so you never know. I mean, you never know if there was something that might have happened or how close they were. I mean, we're never going to know because obviously,
of course,
we're not in there. But I mean, I don't know what I don't know, but it's just interesting to me the way that the fan base is kind of they're not happy, and I get it. I get why they're not happy about it. And the thing is, you're not going to have Keenan and Mike for a little bit. It's going to be a little bit. So that's why I'm telling you, like, these next few games, that's why I was a little surprised. That's why I understand the fans' frustration. Man, you're about to go 4 games, like possibly 2 games without one of them, maybe, and maybe 1 or 2 more without the other one. So, and the thing is that Keenan and Mike work so well, but man, it's just going to, it's gonna be long. It's gonna be long and hard.
That's what she said.
This fool. That's what she said. This fool. But either way, though, like seriously, even when they come back, it still takes time to adjust. It's not like it's going to be a miracle thing when they get back in there.
Well, no. But when they come back, Keenan and Mike, it's going to be. I mean, what does Arnold Schwarzenegger think?
And now go Chargers, go.
Oh, see, Arnold, the governor said that. Yeah,
right.
I started fooling around, throwing things in and stuff.
Apparently, I've been seeing you were busy over there.
I'm having fun with this one. So,
for real.
So, well, what? I have to have fun with it.
That's what she said.
But no. Oh my god. I'm not saying don't. I love it. It makes me laugh.
I know. So obviously, but the thing is, Keenan and Mike and Justin. And you know what's funny? That's who I feel bad for. I feel a little bit bad for Justin because
Well, how
man,
don't you? You're
Like,
you're
the
soulless if
offensive
you
line's
don't.
beat up. Your receivers are all beat up. It's literally going to be probably the Austin Eckler. To me, it's going to be the Austin Eckler, Gerald Everett, and Justin Herbert show this weekend. I think. I really think that's what it's going to be. But I mean,
It's not
truly
gonna be
though,
pretty.
if I was Justin Herbert, I would just pull a page out of my Tribal Chiefs page.
There ain't a man alive who can touch my button. If I had one, you wouldn't be able to locate it. Can't no man knock me out. I'm tired of being humble. I'm tired of letting people think they got a chance. The Tribal Chief is head and shoulders above everybody.
I love that. I love that character so much.
I thought you were
love the
gonna love
Tribal
that little Roman
I
Reigns.
love
Like,
the Tribal Chief.
if you guys couldn't hear basically what Roman Reigns from WWE was saying, he's like, I'm head and shoulders above everybody else. There's nobody here who can touch me. So that's how
I'm
Justin
tired
Herbert
of being humble.
I'm tired of being humble. Yeah, that's literally how Justin Herbert should be.
Yeah, he should.
And besides, I have pitched that you should be his wise man.
I would do it. I would 100% do it. I would be a great wise man.
So, but yeah, no, going back to, like I said, I understand the frustration. I
Yeah, of
understand
course.
why fans are getting a little angry. I understand both sides. The thing is, you just have to wait and see. I mean, who knows? What if Justin really does come out here with those guys and they end up lighting it up? They beat Atlanta. They miraculously remember the Chargers in their history are one of those guys, or one of those teams that literally go and win. Like, this is how I was putting it to Gilberto the other day. So these are the next 4 games. Like, I'm if you haven't heard me say it enough, they play the Atlanta, they play at San Francisco, Kansas City at home, and then they go to Arizona. In my history of knowing this team, they'll lose to Atlanta, they'll beat the 49ers, they'll beat the Chiefs, and then they'll lose to the Cardinals. That's literally what they do. Yep. But like I said, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but if you don't have Keenan and Mike for these next 4 games, it's going to be tough. It's going to be rough. And it's going to be, because not only that, but then you go into December schedule and you start looking, they play Miami. Miami just got Bradley Chubb. They have Jalen Phillips.
Yeah.
They have a good pass rush. They have good players on that team, and
they have great
offense.
Weapons offensively. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to watch these next few weeks how this team operates. But yeah, no, just quickly, Dan, let's just and to finish it off, everybody love everybody. Just be nice, relax.
Hey, I got a ring too. You know what it says? ELE. Everybody love everybody.
I know everybody wants to be. I know everybody is frustrated and everything. Because it isn't the season that they've wanted so far. But hey, the team is still 4-3. I mean, they still have a winning record. They still have they still have a chance. I mean, I don't know why people are still losing their marbles. Just give them a chance. Let's see what they get. Let's see what they can do. Don't just jump ship yet. Just wait to see what happens. But yeah, like Dan said,
hey, I got a ring up here too. Mine says love. Think about that. Everybody love everybody.
That's probably one of his best movies, by the way, semi-pro.
Real quick,
it's like you said, dude. Like, the problem is you can't worry about the uncontrollable. Like,
exactly.
Of course, I love the team. I want the team to be great. Are they going to determine my mood on Sunday? No, I can't do that anymore. I'm going to freaking get high blood pressure, and I'm going to have a stroke one Sunday recording this post game. I can't do it anymore. I'm not going to do it. I'm just worried, about things I can control, and that's about it, dude.
So basically, Dan, these next 2 weeks, or these 2 defenses are both bad. The Chargers are bad. The Falcons are bad. The Falcons give up 25.6 points a game. The Chargers are giving up 27 points a game. The Chargers are giving up 357 yards of total offense. The Atlanta gives up 415. Something's got to give. I don't know how both these defenses will do this weekend. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see how Khalil Mack and the pass rush attack. This will be the first game without Chris Rumph. Jeremiah Tauchi was signed. Still don't know yet if he's going to be how much he'll be involved in the defense, but Khalil Mack, it'll be interesting to see how they do. And then I'm pretty sure they'll try and bring in a little bit more Drew Tranquill blitzing. That seems to be the formula that they kind of like to do against running quarterbacks. So maybe Drew Tranquill gets a little bit involved this weekend. When it comes to the offense, obviously Marcus Mariota, he's had a decent season, 63% completion percentage, 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns, 6 picks. He's actually been sacked 19 times. And then obviously Cordero Patterson will be coming back this weekend.
Oh,
Cordero,
lovely.
Cordero is a guy who Brandon Staley had him in community college. So at Hutchinson Community, Kansas Community College. And Brandon just talked about his size. He has rare size and speed, rare acceleration, rare contact. That he is just he's so happy for him that he's had an amazing career and that he feels like he's going to play longer. And I asked him, "Are you surprised that Cordero was able to make the switch He was able to make the transition from wide receiver to running back." And he said, "No, he's like Cordero is that good." So Cordero will be back this weekend. That'll be a little rough for the Chargers. They also have another running back named Tyler Algier, who he's rushed the ball for 324 yards and 1 touchdown. Marcus has scored 3 rushing touchdowns. So, and then obviously on offense, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. Both will be interesting to see how the Chargers decide to cover them. Drake London's about 6'5". So it'll be interesting to see if Michael Davis covers him or Asante Samuel Jr., who's only 5'9". That'll be the interesting part. And then I think Derwin will be on Kyle Pitts a lot of the game as well. So that'll be interesting. But Dan, give me a fantasy player to watch.
Fantasy player to watch. It's going to have to be, I guess I'm going to have to cop out. It's going to have to be Austin Eckler. The whole offense, they're going to try and put it in his hand. That's who's going to be the fantasy player to watch, because they're going to try and get him in space. They're going to try and get him out in the open. If not, they're going to try and probably pound the rock like they did against the Browns, because he's going to be the one to have to get touches and make plays, because he's essentially the biggest player on the field, not named Justin Herbert.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Cordero Patterson. If that's who Brandon Staley's talking about, I think Cordero's going to have a big game. I think he'll run the football. I think there's going to be a lot of RPO. I don't know how the Chargers are going to handle that RPO. It's going to be interesting to see if they can handle that, especially with a player so dynamic like Cordero that can go crazy on you or not. So I'll go with him. Dan, for the Chargers to win, who has to be the X factor?
It has to be essentially the backup receivers. You've got to step up this week. What I said last time before we dipped for the bye week, what is your identity offensively? You haven't had one all season. You can't pound the rock effectively. You can't get guys open. So this week, especially going, obviously a win's a win. They're leading the division. You got to respect the Falcons. You're going on the road. Totally respect and understand that. But you're basically going against a subpar team no one expected to win to begin with. You know what I mean? If there's a time to step up and start putting things together and experimenting, this would be the game before you get into San Francisco, into Kansas City, and all that other stuff. So the X factor 100% has to be these backup receivers who need to step up.
And now go Chargers, go.
You love that.
Obviously.
That
I'm gonna go with the Chargers defensive line. I think they're gonna need to control the game. They're gonna need to control stopping Cordero Patterson. Obviously, we don't know if Jerry Tillery is gonna play. He missed Wednesday's practice with a back injury.
Oh, I didn't even know he was hurt. Look at that.
Yeah, he was one of the So he was one of the guys that surprisingly didn't practice on Wednesday. But there's going to be other defensive linemen that are probably going to play. They need to control the defensive line.
Is it about to be a Fiocco show?
I don't know. Braden Fiocco is an interesting person to keep an eye on if they bring him up on Sunday. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see how this defensive line decides to control the game. I think they're going to need to get after Marcus. They're going to need to disrupt Marcus. They're going to need to help Khalil Mack get open or be able to disrupt him and hit him and maybe make him fumble a couple of times. So I'm going to go with him. So last one, Dan.
Well, that's the biggest problem too. Sometimes you'll see Khalil Mack getting double teamed. You have guys on one-on-ones and they're just standing there making no moves. Like I
was on a radio station from Atlanta and they asked me, has Khalil Mack been everything that the Chargers had hoped for. And I think he's been better than what they thought. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody said that he was washed. He still can get back there. The only problem is that Joey's not there, so it makes it a little bit harder for him. It makes it a little bit harder for him to get back into the backfield without somebody helping him opposite. So that does get a little bit rough. But
exactly,
but to me,
it's not
Khalil
like you
Mack
can
is
blitz.
he's still
100%.
Khalil Mack.
100%. It's not like you can blitz Derwin James or Tranquil every play.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, but yeah, no, he's still Khalil Mack. He's still exactly who the Chargers thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, what's your prediction for this Sunday?
I'm gonna get called a hater, but that's all right. I think they go into. Is Atlanta's not really that hurt, right? I don't think I've heard anything out of that.
I mean, well, Casey Hayward is out for the year, I believe, and then AJ Terrell, their other started corner, he's out. He might be out for this game.
You know what? I'm a student of history, and what history tells me is that this organization and this team have always played down to their competition. But then again, they're better on the road. Coming off a bye week, you know what? I'm gonna take the Chargers should have won this game out of the bye week. I'll take the Chargers.
Okay.
Yeah, you see how tough it is?
No,
because that's what I was thinking. Like, the problem is always they play down to competition, even though on paper they have better players, and they're on the road. But I think even this year they've been better on the road than they've been at home. Like, Jacksonville was at home, Seattle was at home. I think the only road game they've lost is Kansas City.
That one, that's the only the other three the other two they've lost at home. Yeah, no, you're right. No, I'm gonna go Atlanta. I think Atlanta's gonna win this game. I think they're in the fight for the division. I think Atlanta's gonna win. I'll say
a lot more motivation
Atlanta,
too, probably.
I'll say Atlanta 31, Chargers 23. I think that it's gonna be tough to score points if those guys aren't playing.
Yeah.
So but I'll say that Austin Eckler kind of rips 1 or 2 touchdowns. But I think it's gonna be tough for the Chargers offense this weekend. Unless this is one of those like where like Joe Lombardi just perfectly like calls the game perfectly.
What he's gonna do
and everything, because like the game against Cleveland, I think has been his perfect game so far this year.
Yeah, they're pretty
called
good.
everything that they needed to do, and maybe this is a game where he does it. But I just think that Atlanta right now has so much motivation because they're leading the division. I mean, the Chargers literally, and this is the funniest part about the whole thing, Dan. This is what blows my mind. I mean, and I know I'm being kind of pessimistic a little bit about, but I'm just being a realist. But they're only 1 game behind Kansas City, really. I mean,
yeah.
And if the Chargers lose or win on Sunday, and Kansas City loses on Sunday Night Football to Tennessee, they're tied. So that's incredible to me. But at the same time, you just the injuries might start catching up to them.
Yeah.
They did before the bye week. It could catch up to them again. So
those are big ifs too, right?
Yeah, no, but I'm going to go Atlanta. I think Atlanta wins.
Yeah.
But
either way, it's not going to be a pretty game.
No, it's going to be a weird game. You know what? I'll keep it the same. Atlanta wins, but
that's fine. That way we have some contrarian.
No. I was thinking about changing the score. But that's gonna happen. But thank you guys so much. I know this was a different episode than usual. Here it was more breaking down the Keenan Allen stuff, breaking down the trade stuff. But we appreciate you guys so much for joining another episode of What's Up, Bolts. Obviously, go check out some of our other stuff. House of Horns, Gilbert and Vic have you guys covered for the Rams this weekend. They go to Tampa Bay. Check out Regular COMPAS where my bad. Going back to the House of Horns thing, Gilbert has will have an interesting, I'm sure next week on Regular COMPAS, he'll have a good soundbite on his trip because this weekend he goes to Tampa Bay, early flights, connections and everything. So, he'll bring us some good stories, but go check out Regular COMPAS. We had some good stuff this week. I responded to Emmanuel Lacho's what he said about what he said about Justin Herbert. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was lazy. I thought it was the same crap that you always hear from TV people that don't do their homework correctly. Instead of saying, "Oh yeah, I just didn't watch the game," they get their stats printed out by a producer, and they say, "Oh, well, look, Justin Herbert had a bad game." No, dude, do your homework. Know why he had a bad game. So that's just laziness to me. But go check that out on Compas on the Beat. And then don't forget to check out Combat Compas. We have some really good stuff. El Zurdo Ramirez faces Dimitri Bivol this weekend for a championship. It'll be about around 1 o'clock, I think Gilbert said, when they'll be headed to the ring, 1 p.m. Why? Because they're in Saudi or in Abu Dhabi. Also, I have some other great stuff. We had some other great stuff on Combat Compass as well, where we break down why Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul is an important match for the next couple of weeks or the next couple of months for WWE. And we also we talk about, should CM Punk come back to WWE or not? Should Triple H try and bring him in? We have all that stuff on Combat Compass. But we appreciate you guys so much. I'm Fernando Ramirez. That guy right there is Dan and Dago. We appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to check us out on all things social media. Like, subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend. Thank you guys so much, and stay safe, stay healthy, and again, thank you for rocking with us.